Good morning, team. We're going to get started in just a couple minutes. I'll be right back. All right. Good morning, everybody. I hope you are all well. Beautiful Tuesday, March 30th. Boy, first quarter of 2021 down almost. Couple days to go. Been a great first quarter, and it's been very busy out there. I know a lot of you have active clients that you're working, buyers and sellers. I know it's tough for buyers, but hey, persevere. There are plenty of opportunities, so just keep pushing, keep pushing. The business is there for you. So speaking of business, we're talking about lead gen today. We're talking about prospecting. So this is going to be a great little course session here in our elementals portion of Ignite. And we're going to do, a dive into the different types of prospecting, the differences between prospecting and marketing. And then we have like an action plan towards the end where we're going to help you, figure out what's going to be best for you, the pros and cons. And then I'm going to add a little piece to it called the 4 agent archetypes, the different types of agents out there that can help you determine which of the prospecting methods may be best for you. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and jump into it. But, before we get started, as we do, I would like for, somebody to unmute yourself and just tell me something good. Tell me something good. Tell me something you're grateful for. Tell me something you are excited about in your business. Anything at all. I don't care how small it is. Tell me something good. Who wants to start? Who wants to give me something good today?
I'll begin. And yeah, like you said a moment ago, I'm excited to be at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing.
That's exactly right, Craig. I love that. Right place, right time, doing the right thing. I love the way you put that. That's fantastic. Thank you. Who else? Somebody else. So let me have at least one more person contribute. Something good. Something you're grateful for. Don't be shy, folks, because I've got all day, even if it means sitting in silence for a minute or two. Tell me something good.
I'm grateful that I had this as a backup once I became, once I was laid off. I'm glad I already had this in the works.
I love that. Absolutely. The backup became the primary all of a sudden, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. Tiffany, did you have your license pre-pandemic? I can't quite remember. I know we spoke. It's been a little while since we first connected.
Yes, I did. And I always had it originally as a backup for me and my real estate investments only.
Yep.
But now obviously I had to kind of switch gears.
Yeah, for sure. Many of us did. I think one of the buzzwords of the last 12 months has certainly been pivot. So yeah, that's great. That's awesome. I love it. Thank you for that. So okay, cool. Well, thank you. You know, I used to do group coaching classes, and I would say, you know, tell me something that's going on in your business, and it used to be a lot of you know, complaints about, I can't find a lead, I can't close a deal. So I shifted, right, the way I asked the question to tell me something good, because we always want to kick it off on a positive note. So that's where we're at today. So I'll tell you what, I'm grateful for all of you as wonderful agents in this business. Some of you brand new, some of you have been around for a hot minute. And, you know, it's just an incredible pleasure and opportunity for me to be able to work with agents as they, you know, really just begin their careers and learn the fundamentals of real estate. And I'm thankful for, you know, KW, because we have a lot of this, this material that is very thoughtful and purposeful. You know, where I started, I had to write almost all of the training myself for the office. For the last few offices I worked at, some one a local independent and one a large national franchise. You know, the material just didn't exist. And when I came to Keller Williams in 2016, I would tell my team leader over and over and over again, I learned more in 90 days than I had in the past 10 years in real estate about this business. So very, very thankful for that. So on that note, let's jump into today's material. Ignite 2.0. We have Elementals, session 1 of 9. We have 9 more of these. We have 3 weeks-ish to go. Just as a side note, by the way, this Friday is Good Friday, and it is a Keller Williams International approved holiday. I know at least one of our offices is going to be closed, so we are going to not have Ignite this Friday, which is going to push our finishing date to April 20th, Tuesday. So we'll have one more added day on the schedule. So just be aware. And then I got a question in the chat about Spark 10 and Elementals 10. Those are more specific to each market center, and we have 3 different market centers on this Zoom. And so the market center fundamentals courses are basically our orientations that we do within each office. So you'll see that we'll have orientations from time to time that talks about specifics about the market center, how to submit files, and you know, use command and some basics and things like that. So we don't do number 10 on either of the 2 courses. So we are looking at prospecting today. And with that said, I'm going to drop in our chat right now the course manual just to make sure everybody has it. And again, remember, I always put our manuals the night before in our Facebook groups. So they're there for you. So hopefully you can see the manual there. It is in the chat. You are free to download. All right, let me do one quick thing here. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's get into prospecting. So you know, we're going to focus obviously on lead generating and prospecting, which is you know, the most important component of your business, bringing leads to the table, right? I always tell you guys, we can't do the things on the left-hand side of this slide, lead generate, the things on the right-hand side, marketing and showings and appointments, if we aren't doing the things on the left-hand side. This business is all about lead gen. Your ability to survive in real estate is all about the amount of people you can bring into your database and the amount of people already there, and then the quality of the relationships with the people that are in that database. So building relationships is what matters. And you know, lead generating isn't just finding new people, but it's communicating with existing people. We've talked about that in the past few courses in database, where we have done a lot of conversations about, you know, touch programs and communicating with the database in a systematic way over and over and over again to earn mind share and positioning. Remember, it's all about the mind share. It's all about capturing as many humans as possible and then having them think of you when it comes to real estate. And we do that through a series of impressions through multiple channels: phone calls, text messages, email, direct mail, social media, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, let's keep going. So growing our business, all about lead generating. And here's what we're going to look at. We're going to talk about connecting prospecting to lead gen, as we just touched on. We're going to talk about diving deep into prospecting methods, and we're going to look at a list of all kinds of different ways to generate business. we're going to talk about taking action and then developing your plan, your specific plan. I know there's a lot of real estate coaching programs out there that basically say this is the way to do it. My opinion, there's a ton of different ways. We want you to pick the ways that are going to be most suited to your wheelhouse, most suited to your personality profile. So with that said, can I get somebody in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself or even raise your hand or whatever, who has taken the DISC profile? Just tell me yes or no in the chat if you've taken the DISC profile.
Yes.
Thank you, Jim.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Awesome, Rosie. Thank you. Tiffany, great. I guess I should have rephrased it. Is there anyone that has not taken their DISC profile? Anyone who has not?
No.
All right, Craig, gotcha. Perfect. I'm going to grab online real quickly. And you'll see how this plays in later. One second. Free online personality. So the DISC is a personality profile, and it essentially just shows you what, based on some questions, what personality categories you fit into. And they're pretty simple. The D is what we'd call direct. The I is what we'd call interactive. The S is what we'd call stable, and the C would be what we would call cautious. And there's no good or bad one. They're just different. And it really just kind of helps you kind of categorize yourself into introvert versus extrovert, and then people-oriented versus task-oriented. And I think it's important for you to do this because we have to know ourselves before we can really master anything else. We talk about a course we do in Keller Williams called the 6 Personal Perspectives. We teach it maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And it goes into a topic of self-mastery. And you really can't master yourself until you master, you really can't master a topic until you master yourself. So you have to know, how do you operate? Are you introvert or extrovert? Are you a people person? Are you task-oriented? And then taking that information and figuring out which prospecting methods would be most effective for you, right? So like for me, I learned way back when, I'm naturally very introverted, right? You may not believe that because I'm teaching these classes, but it took me a lot of time to master the skills to be able to deliver and present material. I used to, be up in front of a room shaking and sweating my head off because I was just nervous and very, again, introverted. I was going against my natural personality profile. I had to learn and adapt to be able to do this. What it led me to also was understanding that being not so extroverted, the outbound lead generating and calls for me wasn't as effective as inbound. I was way better at converting walk-in traffic, online ads, things like that, because of my personality profile. And that's when I really started to take off in my career and do more transactions, because I utilized my natural abilities. So this is a very powerful way to figure out, at least on a base layer, what that is for you. So if any of you have done your DISC and we haven't spoken about it yet, book an appointment with me and let's chat. I'd love to talk to you about what it means for you in depth. We also, by the way, have another personality assessment that's far more in depth, by the way, and it's called the KPA, the Keller Personality Assessment. Has anyone not taken the KPA? I bet there's a few more of those.
I haven't.
Awesome. Anybody else not done the KPA?
I haven't.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So for those of you that have not taken your KPA, reach out to your agent services. That would be in Long Beach, that would be Tori or Christy. In La Mirada, that would be Cassidy, or you could ask Rob. And then in Cerritos, that would be Sandra, Tina, and ask them to take the KPA. This is, the DISC is like a 10, 15-minute question assessment. The KPA takes about an hour. It's a lot more in depth, and it'll spit out a 20, 30 page what we call a job fit report, and it's related specific to real estate. So I would do the DISC first, digest that for a week or so, and then you can plug into the KPA after that. So anyways, not the main focus of our conversation today, but I think it's relevant because once you understand your profile and how you operate as a person, it will help you figure out which lead gen sources are going to be the most effective for you. Okay. So continuing on our slide here, take action, develop your specific plan, and then recap and create your success list, meaning the things that you are going to do to take action. So let's go. Let's move on. Our next slide, just to kind of reiterate, we've seen this slide before. It's essentially what we would call our lead funnel, right? And it starts at the top. Number one, step one in real estate is prospecting and marketing. We will have a class on marketing. It's going to be on Thursday. Okay, so today is prospecting and marketing. We'll talk about some of the differences today. So prospecting and marketing leads us to the captured phase. We have made a connection, okay, and that would be either a lead or a contact. The leads are basically people that have expressed interest, but we're really only having a one-way conversation. We're giving them value. We're sending offer-based material to try to get them to respond so we can turn them into a contact. A contact is a interactive, value-based two-way communication. And that's where we've connected with them and we have created the offering, meaning an appointment for a listing or buyer consultation, ideally. That would lead us to the connected phase right in the middle of the funnel. And once we've connected, we proceed into the cultivate phase, number 4, cultivate. And that's, again, an interactive two-way conversation with people where we are nurturing, we're qualifying, and we're trying to take this contact and turn them into an actual client that goes into our pipeline, our sales pipeline. That leads to number 5, which is booking an appointment or going on an appointment. I'm going to look at or show you guys how to track your appointments within Command today. That's number 5. Number 6 is when they become a client. They're active. They have now, not only just engaged with you, but they have said, yes, I want to work with you. And then number 7 is when you put them under contract, open escrow. And then number 8, that's when you close. I used to say we'd all go fly to Vegas and blow it all on 32 red. Is that red or black? I don't know. Okay, just kidding. We're not going to do that. We're going to invest it all into real estate, right? We sell real estate to buy real estate, okay? What page is on the guide? Thank you for that. Let me see. I don't know if this is in the guide or not, but let me check. Yeah, Rosie, we're not, this diagram isn't in this manual. It was in a previous manual, so it's just on the slide right now. And we're going to get into the actual manual pretty quick on page 4 in a minute here, okay? All right. So that is our sales funnel. Again, we've seen this a couple of times now, and it's just a reiteration of the flow, the process of turning a person into a closed escrow and what that process looks like. So let's keep going. Let's continue. Move a few windows around. Bear with me here. All right, there we go. Okay, so I want you guys to take a look at, again, this isn't in your book. It's on the slide. Hopefully you can see it on your screen nice and big. Lead gen is designed and always should be purposeful and intentional. And it really is the life of your business. So ultimately, lead generation is taking a message and using a method to drive that message to a desired audience. So we call this message and method of your lead generation, or the 2 M's. We call it the 2 M's, right? So if you look on the left, the message needs to match your market, right? So the message needs to match your market, and it needs to make an offer for an immediate response. It should match the market by tailoring the intended message to the sentiments and the market conditions of a target group in the area in which you operate. Now, the message should have a call to action that can be direct or indirect. Direct would be call now for more information or to book an appointment. Indirect would be go to my website for more information. It pushes them somewhere else, okay? So if you look at the left side, number 1 is message, and right below that it says match your market. This is essentially thinking about what your niche would be and tailoring the message specifically to that niche, okay? So let's say that you are gonna focus on first-time home buyers. Okay. That means that means that's your target audience, right? So you create your target audience, thinking about what the market conditions are. How are you going to communicate to that audience, right? So, one of the offers, right, as we go to the right side of that message part, is to make an offer. One of the offers may be discussing low interest rates, right, and how cheap it is to borrow money right now, and why that might be one of the best times, frankly, in history, to lock in a 30-year mortgage at such cheap money. So now that we have our offering of, I'm going to talk about the financing incentives to buy in this market, we can have either a direct or an indirect offer, right? So a direct offer might be, call me immediately so we can discuss your personal situation about why you should buy now. An indirect offer might be a landing page on your website that you create that shows how tax write-offs work, and maybe has a live feed from your lender about what interest rates are doing. That would be an indirect offer. Okay. So that's the messaging, right? Creating a message specific to a market. Once you've identified a target audience, you know what the market conditions are and how to sell it. You create the offer, either direct or indirect, in order to generate a response. And that's how we generate a lead. Okay. On the right side is method. And there's two primary methods of getting your message out to your target group, and that's prospecting or marketing. Okay, so we're going to go over the differences between the two. Prospecting or marketing means we need to time block to set aside dedicated time to do the work. And then we go through the 1, 2, 3 method of prepare, take action, and then maintenance on whichever one of those we're working on at the time. Does anyone have any questions about the message or method, the 2 M's, when it comes to lead gen? All right, let's keep going. So let's talk about essentially the differences between the two, and which should we be focused on? Okay. So lead gen should be essentially what we would call prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Generally speaking, at the beginning of your careers, you probably have more time than money to devote into real estate. And so when we think about the differences between prospecting and marketing, if you look, the bottom is prospecting. It's time intensive, it's proactive, and it tends to generate immediate results. So when we have more time than money, prospecting can be a great opportunity to start really packing your pipeline. Okay. Marketing is what we would call more money intensive and more passive, and designed to have long-term results. And again, both are relevant, both are necessary. It's just a matter of which one are you going to focus on today. So in our Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, we do talk about being more focused on marketing enhanced, prospecting based. And that means, being in more control of your results because it is more proactive. So proactive and direct. And, another benefit to prospecting, it keeps you in an active versus a reactive state, because it's you searching for leads. It's you going out there and, quote unquote, hunting for business, finding the business. And it's in your control. When I was actively prospecting, doing a lot of phone calls, I knew that I could for sure talk to a certain amount of people every day, right? It was between 30 and 40 people a day, depending on who I was calling. And I knew I could hit that number every day with certainty, because it just took time. Sometimes it took 3 hours, sometimes it took 4.5 to 5 hours. But I knew I could get it done if I just cleared off enough of my schedule. Getting 40 contacts never took me more than 5 hours. So I was very in control with the amount of conversations that I had. On the marketing side of things, since it's more passive, you aren't as in control. Okay. Will you have an average number of inquiries if you run Facebook ads? Yes. But I also know that today I might get 0. Tomorrow I might get 15. It depends on the day, right? So I can't control and reasonably predict on a day-to-day how many inquiries I will bring in passively through marketing, but I can predict proactively how many contacts I can make through prospecting. Okay. So that's a little bit of what I did and what made me think about the prospecting side of things, especially when I was brand new. It was just constant phone calls and staying active. And it helped me in a lot of levels. One, that's how I sold my first house. Two, it helped me really learn my scripting and my ability to have conversations with people. So my just listed script, my expired script, my for sale by owner script, within a month, I had it memorized completely. It was very, very easy for me at that point. So, it just takes time, but I did also 40 contacts every single day, 5 days a week for months when I was brand new, right? So that's what it took for me to really get some mastery around scripting. So here's a list of prospecting, and in your guide, okay, in the guide that I uploaded that you should have a copy of, this is on page number 4. So you can follow along there. Take a look at page 4. This is a variety of prospecting methods to share your message. So if you take a look at what's on here, right, we have phone or face-to-face, listings without agency, for sale by owners, expired listings. We have circle prospecting, neighborhoods, right, picking a geographic area, apartment complexes, picking a recently sold or a just listed property and calling around that area. Look at this. We have community outreach, charity, volunteer work. I know the Long Beach office is doing a shredding event and a Food Finders food drive, I believe on April 10th, not this weekend, but the following. You can piggyback on that as a means to promote charitable work, right? So you can go into a neighborhood or into your sphere and promote that, and then just be at the event and keep an eye out for people that you know there. Great opportunity for community outreach. You can also volunteer at that or any other organizations. That's a great way to meet people, especially if you want to be community-based, okay? And then we have key relationships. Think about, who do you know? Corporations, maybe you have some builder connections, banks, lenders, or actual brick and mortar banks that you work with. Third-party data companies. These are companies that resell information. Investors, maybe you have a pool of investors. And then we have things like teaching and speaking opportunities, which I think is very underutilized in real estate. Meals, meaning going out to eat or grabbing coffee with the people that you know. Door-to-door canvassing, door knocking, networking events, booths and kiosks, creating a booth. I know a lot of people have done this at flea markets or swap meets or antique markets or whatever. And then walk-ins, which isn't quite as prevalent these days, but certainly I've sold a few walk-ins in my time. Another opportunity there. So these are all different methods to lead gen. So I want you to kind of bookmark that page, because we're going to refer back to it as you start thinking about what prospecting methods are you going to go all in on. Okay. Question in the chat: what sort of networking events have been successful? There's a lot of opportunity here, I think. So first and foremost are what we would consider to be more of your formal networking events. So there are organizations out there that are purposely built to provide referrals. I know of one called BNI, Business Network International, and usually real estate agent and lender are the first to be filled up. But basically, there's organizations like that where they have one person from any given industry or category, and they meet either weekly or twice a month, and they purposely exchange referrals with each other. And you'll see all sorts of industry, accountants, mechanics, everything you could possibly imagine. So those are great opportunities. Another one that I encourage you all to look at is Toastmasters. Has anyone ever been in Toastmasters or been in one of those groups before? Nobody. All right. So what is Toastmasters? Well, basically, okay, I see Craig's in there. Toastmasters is essentially a public speaking group that you guys get together, and you actually purposefully learn how to be better at speaking. And guess what? You get to meet people, right? So there's all kinds of networking events out there. And I always say, plug into things that you're already plugged into. And when I say that, I mean, what interests and hobbies do you naturally gravitate towards? What are some things that you do on a personal level that is interesting to you? And then go to events like that and meet like-minded people. One of the easiest things that I always think about too, not necessarily related specifically to that, but is if you went to college, graduated, are you plugged into your alumni association? Are you meeting with people that you already have an affiliation with, right? That's an easy one. Sports leagues, sports teams is one. I know a lot of people like to either run or ride bikes or whatever. Go to where the people are. If you're already doing these things, it's a great opportunity just to go and meet and network, right? So yeah, there you go. I think that's some thoughts, at least, on networking. All right, let's take a look at next here. So dive deep into prospecting method. So I'm going to basically cover a couple of things here that we're going to see on the screen that we're going to realize are a little bit difficult to do right now. Doors, agent-to-agent referrals, open houses, and social media. So we're going to look at a few of these. And here's the thing. In anticipation, we are going to be doing 2 out of these 4 activities again, even though we think they're kind of quote unquote banned right now. So let's talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to go into door knocking, and there's some notes on page number 5 in your guide here. So door knocking and its benefits can help you jumpstart your business. You can promote your business by talking to potential clients, and it provides you the chance to promote your open houses potentially when we can do those again, which, guys and gals, I kind of had just thrown out a date and time that I think we'll be able to, like around May 1st is kind of what I was projecting. And it looks like as we move more and more into our less restrictive tiers, I have to assume that our public health guidance will change. But I do want to share this with you folks in regards to door knocking. Can you do door knocking? Here's my comments regarding doors, okay? There's nothing in the public health order that says you cannot knock on doors or leave flyers. There was one DRE investigator who informally said that door knocking is not allowed. That was one person, and it was not an official statement from the Department of Real Estate. We had one agent who left some flyers out, get a complaint from a consumer, and called the Board of Realtors. The Board of Realtors started an ethics inquiry for what they consider to be violating the code of ethics by not following the public health order. Again, nothing in the health order says you can't door knock. Okay. The last thing I'm going to say is this. You're all independent contractors. We can't tell you legally what you can, what you must do and what you cannot do. Okay. So as an independent contractor, you can choose how to operate. So think about that with doors. As I said, I don't see anything in the guidance that says you cannot do that in writing specifically. Okay. I'm going to leave that there. Now, what else is doors? What do doors create as far as opportunities? It creates face-to-face contact, right? It gives you the opportunity to ask for business, offer advice, be an available resource. Very important. And I know many of you that are on the extroverted side of the scale, you want to be face-to-face with people and create that connection, and doing the doors is a great opportunity. It allows you to build a farm because you get to meet all your neighbors and really be involved in your community. As you do it over and over and over again, people start to remember who you are. So you really start to earn the mind share. And you have the opportunity and the ability to enhance your prospecting with marketing materials. So you can start creating branded content, much of which can come right from within Command in the design section, right? And then as you capture people's information, you can then put them into email campaigns, text campaigns, so that they continually receive your marketing. And then it's digitally enhanced, meaning it's automatically happening through these campaigns. Okay. So we have the simple model here: approach, act, ask, advance. Okay. So approach, know your script, ready your mindset and materials, knock on the door, take a step back to create space. Okay. the first thing on this list here that I wrote, know your script. You need to know what to say to people. And for any type of lead generation, by the way, not just knocking on doors. So how much time are you spending memorizing and internalizing your dialogues, your scripting? Okay. There's a ton of limiting beliefs around scripts. It doesn't sound like me. This isn't the way I would talk. Of course, because you've never read the script before. But as you continually read and memorize and then internalize these dialogues, it will start to sound like you. When I first read the Ignite material and I delivered it, it didn't sound like me. But guess what? After reading it a bunch of times, it kind of sounds like me now, right? So in fact, I'm totally reading a script right now on my screen, if you could only see. Okay, so there you go, scripting, right? And then mindset. How are you feeding your mind? What are you doing to be thinking about empowerment and success, things like that? So with that said, I got a quick question for you. Who's listening to any real estate podcasts? And if you are, throw a few in the chat. Let us know what you're listening to. I want to know who's listening to real estate podcasts. Anybody? I have to assume some of you are. No? Nobody? Suhei, so many. Can you throw a few in the chat that you're listening to, Suhei, if you don't mind? Here's a few that I like. Bigger Pockets is great. It's all about investing in real estate and buying rentals, buying doors, and creating passive income. Real Estate Rockstars, great one. There's another one called Super Agents Live. I don't think they're producing any new ones, but it's a great one. Hustle Humbly, awesome, love it. The Anthony Robbins podcast, I think, is good. A lot of people like Grant Cardone. Who's the other guy? Think of his name. Anyway, so there's a couple that are some great ones. So think about, what are you feeding your mind? What are you feeding your brain? You know, I'm a big music guy. I love music. Many of you know, during the pandemic, I was doing my Saturday night DJ sessions live on Facebook. Yes, that was my previous career for a short time. But I realized as I was driving around a lot, you know, I could be listening to music or I could be listening to things that were empowering myself and learning new skills. And so I shifted to where I would be listening either to Spanish lessons, or I'd be listening to a podcast that was, empowering me and helping me think about success, right? So think about that for yourselves. Maybe it's time for the shift for you for that. Going back to our slide here, the second one is ACT. ACT means as you're door knocking. So here's a couple of tips, right? Actively listening. Listening is something that you can do proactively. Hearing is passive. You just automatically hear, but listening is where you actually pay attention. So actively listen, come from contribution, and offer value. What does the person you're speaking to need? How can you help them? Many people approach lead gen, prospecting, door knocking, things like this in a what's the right word? It's more of a take mindset. How can I get that listing? How can I take the listing? I don't even like to say take a listing. I think you've been given the opportunity to get a listing. What are you doing to come from contribution though? Like that's where I think, what can I do for this person that owns a home so that they see I'm providing value and that's enough incentive for them to give me their contact information. Okay. If I only ask, do you want to sell your house? No, move on. You're not going to connect, right? So I think about the value I can provide. A list of handymen or neighborhood vendors that service the area, or things like a market snapshot so they can see what's happening twice a month through our monthly neighborhood nurture or bi-monthly neighborhood nurture in Command, right? Or their own custom Command website so they can see properties and areas they're interested in. Or, the top 10 things to get your home ready for sale, right? There's a lot of opportunities in there creating value. And a lot of this stuff, again, is in Command in the design section, okay? Ask for business, ask for referrals, ask for permission to stay in touch. Those are the three things you're always looking for. Book an appointment, generate a referral, get the contact information so you can stay in touch. And then advance, what that means is get them into your database. Make sure the contacts are on touch campaigns. Monthly neighborhood nurture is the easiest one for any homeowner. Okay.
Excuse me, Nick. Could you repeat for us the asks that you were highlighting a moment ago?
Yep. Ask is threefold. Ask for business, ask for referrals, and ask for permission to stay in touch.
Thank you.
You got it. So appointment, referral, and contact information to stay in touch. All right, cool. Let's take a look at the next one. Agent to agent referrals, probably underutilized here, especially because I know many of us, weren't originally from Southern California, right? Like I was born in Idaho. I have a lot of family in Utah. So are you utilizing agent to agent referrals? There is an easy opportunity to grow, manage, and maintain your network, and it starts within Command. Okay, so I'm going to jump into Command real quickly, and let's take a look at this together. I just want to show you the referral section so you can know where to go to access this information. Okay, so here we are in Command. On the left-hand side, we click our little KW logo, and right here is referrals. So when we open the referrals tab, I just want to show you what is possible here. So I would give all of you a homework assignment today. Many of you know people that live out of state or even out of local counties in California, maybe in Northern California. So I want you to use the referral network to find an agent and connect with them through referral, through Command. Okay, so this is the main dashboard here. And what you got to do is just simply go here, go to the map, click on the map. And here's where you can go find, right, a referral from somewhere in the country. Okay, so let's see. I have some family in Nampa, Idaho, just north of Boise. Used to be a little tiny town, and boy, is it blown up now with Boise, really growing. So once I get here, right, I can start basically zooming in and finding agents that might fit my needs in the area that I'm looking for. Okay, so here I am. I'm going to scroll in a little further, and here's kind of like downtown Nampa, Idaho. So what I can do now, one second. Okay, there we go. So I was just kind of scrolling into Nampa here, and what I can do as I get a little closer into the town is I can see on the right-hand side agents that service this area. And what I can do is I can set up filters, and I can say, I have family that owns property in Nampa, so I want somebody that has sold at least 8 listings in that area. And I can put closed listings or closed sides as well. I can do buyer sides, right? I can put pretty much whatever I want here. So I want to make sure that they've done at least that much business in the last 12 months. And I can say they went to Mega Camp or not. That'd be kind of cool. I can also say I want to make sure that they're in MAPS. I want to make sure they're in the MAPS coaching program. So I'm going to add that, and then I'm going to apply my filter, and it's going to show me a list of all these people. Okay, look, I've only got one result, so it's clear that there's one person here that probably is going to be my best bet. Carolyn Vaught here. She closed 13 units in the air, or 31 units, 13 in the area, and 20 total listings with at least the 8 that I looked at. So now I'm going to add Carolyn to my network. I'm just going to click this button right here. Carolyn. So I'm just going to say, hi, I have some family in Nampa So I wanted to connect with an agent there in case anyone wants to move. Thanks. Right? I hit send. Boom. Okay. So I just did that in real time. I'm sending that invitation out to Carolyn. And in a perfect world, she will now respond to me through here and just accept my invitation. Nothing more. I didn't generate a referral yet. If I wanted to actually do a referral, I would click new referral. I would give my clients information, negotiate a referral fee, and then boom, done. Generally speaking, referrals are anywhere between like 20 to 30-ish% that come back to you as a referral fee. And here's what's cool. If you can refer 3 clients, that's almost one transaction. And guess what? You do 0 work. You just make a phone call, click a few buttons in Command, and then boom, that's it. It's off and running, right? So it's a great opportunity to generate income without having to work for it. So let's do one other thing. I want to just show you something that's kind of cool. Referral patterns. Referral patterns. Okay, I'm going to click this link here. And what this does is it'll show me where referrals are being sent and where they're coming from different cities. Okay, so right now I am in the outbound referrals. Okay, and what it's showing me is that 5% of referrals are going to Las Vegas, Nevada from Long Beach. 3% are going to San Antonio, 2% Austin, 2% Dallas, 2% Houston. So a lot of Texas. And it's kind of like, I think we would probably all envision this, right? So these are where outbound referrals are going to. These are where places people are moving to. So if you're running ads or having conversations with people, you can be thinking about this. And maybe you're starting to run ads in Long Beach that talks about moving to Las Vegas. And then you want to connect with a referral partner in Las Vegas. In fact, I got an email from a guy in Vegas that says they'll pay up to 35% for listing referrals in and around Las Vegas. So what about inbound, received? So here I am in Long Beach. 8% of clients coming to Long Beach through Command's referral network are coming from Tucson, Arizona, right? We have a portion coming from Downey, actually, which is interesting. You'd think Downey would come and service Long Beach, but apparently not. Scottsdale, Prescott. So a lot of people coming from Arizona into Long Beach. So that's another way to generate buyer traffic, is instead of advertising for buyers locally, you could advertise for buyers in Arizona. Maybe the ads are a little cheaper to run out there, right? So pretty cool. So does anyone have any questions about the referral section in Command?
I have a question.
Let's hear it, Rosie.
I noticed you chose someone with maps. What that means?
So MAPS is our Keller Williams mastery coaching program. So, once many of you graduate, the productivity coaching program, or you start, producing at a much higher level and you want, that next level of coaching, then you can hire a MAPS coach, somebody that works for Keller Williams in our coaching division. It's for pay. I think it's $1,000 a month for a weekly call. And what they do is they help you build your business and grow and produce at a much higher level. So MAPS coaching clients, I think they average like 60 units a year or more, something along those lines.
Thank you
Yeah.
for the explanation.
Any other questions regarding referrals, folks? Okay, let's get back into our slides. We'll be back into Command in a little bit. So that's our referral network. So the next one we're going to talk about, it's almost taboo now, right? And that is open houses. When will we be able to do those again? Well, that for sure is in our public health guidance, that open houses just are not something that we can do. For now, I know we're, as leadership in the California Association of Realtors, we're really pushing to enable that. I mean, at this point, if you think about like the fact that we can go eat inside of a restaurant and we can go to Disneyland, but we can't conduct an open house, that's a pretty large, percentage of our infrastructure, real estate related. I mean, come on, I don't get it. Anyways, hopefully soon. Any reason to network locally, Craig? Yeah, for sure. I think it's very powerful to network locally. I've actually sold other agents homes for them. I've sold properties with other agents. I have a friend that's a real estate broker, and he's an attorney, and he has no idea how to sell a house. So he refers me all of his business, and since he has a license, I pay him a referral fee for the couple of deals he sends over a year. He's a trust attorney and an estate planner, so he gets some of that type of business from time to time. So yes, absolutely, always be networking, and frankly, there's some business that you guys may not want to pursue or take on. If I got a commercial lead, somebody wanted to buy a shopping center or something like that, I don't know how to do that. I would refer that to another agent. That's not my wheelhouse, right? I would send that to somebody that's a pro in that market segment, especially because since I don't know how, I wouldn't be representing my client very well. So yes, absolutely create those relationships. Okay. So open houses, we will do some deeper dives into this down the road, mainly because obviously we're just not quite there yet. But I will talk about these phases here: prepare, prospect, and pursue, our 3 Ps. So, prepare is all about setting up, right? And in page 8 of your manual, it talks about, getting prepared. It talks about scheduling time. It talks about creating your actual calendar for that. When we can do open houses, folks, if you're newer to the business, don't have any, real, leads, I'm going to recommend that you find an open house to do and literally camp out there 30 hours a week, 4 or 5 days a week, and just be at the open house, because you can do all of your work from a home, as we've learned through the pandemic, certainly, just like you can from an office. So when we get back to that, there's going to be a mad scramble for people to be doing open houses at people's listings, and there's not a lot of inventory. So it's going to be pretty competitive just to get an open house. But once you get one, you'll want to do them, like I said, 4 or 5 days a week, the weekends for sure, but also some weekdays. So we'll time block for that. Next is prospecting, which is promoting and hosting. Part of the prospecting of an open house will be, knocking the neighborhood, let the neighbors know about the open house, and then actually converting people in the open houses. So that would lead us to what we'd call pursue. And the final step is, based on your follow-up and your conversion. Okay. And command will be a big part of that, because right when somebody walks in and walks out of that open house, you're going to want to get them into command, get them on a smart plan, send them a text, make sure that you connect and capture that client and turn them into an actual client from a prospect, right? So command obviously is going to give us an easy way to stay top of mind with the clientele that we generate, and that's all about the smart plans. So we've looked at that. We'll look at that a little bit more in the future as well. Really an open house is a sales event that is preceded by a systematic process and surrounded by a wealth of lead generation opportunities. You can certainly find seller leads at open houses if you just ask for that kind of business. Okay. All right. So let's move on to prospecting, contacts, following up, staying top of mind, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So I want to show you again in command. We looked last week on how to put people on a monthly neighborhood nurture. And I'm hoping you've all at least added yourself to a neighborhood nurture. What I wanted to show you today was how to put people into the cultivate and opportunity phase. So let's take a look at that real quickly. We'll get back into our command. And I'm going to go to the home screen here. So once again, in our home screen, you can set your goals up and you'll start seeing information here. Goals versus actuals, conversion ratios, estimated income, GCI goal breakdown, how much you've earned so far, database health, and so on and so forth. Now, one thing that's super important in real estate and using our platform is putting people into your pipeline as you generate leads, because you want to start to understand and know what your conversion ratios are. Conversion rates would be things like, leads that turn into contacts, contacts that turn into appointments that you book, appointments that they show up and are held, and then those that turn into showings and under contract for listing agreements and buyer's agreements. All those little conversion ratios are data points for you to start seeing where are you doing really well and where do you have some room for improvement, right? It's going to be important for you guys to see in your conversion ratios where your areas of opportunities are, because you can start improving and earning more income simply by tightening up some skills. Like if you have a high cancellation rate on your transactions, right? You open a lot of escrows, but you close a lot too. Well, then there may be an opportunity there to learn something in that conversion rate. Or maybe you're booking a lot of appointments, but the people are not showing up. That might be another opportunity to improve your skills about getting people to come to the appointment. Or maybe you're getting appointments to show up, but they're not signing agreements with you. So maybe your presentation's off, right? So that's what, really paying attention to your conversion rates can help you with. So how do we do that? Well, right here in our little handshake is the opportunities tab. And in the opportunities is where you can track people through the phases of our pipeline, right? Cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. And that's for the sellers, that's for buyers, and you can even track leases in here as well. And as you put people in here, it's going to start showing your potential versus probable income. Potential income is the total amount of income in your pipeline. Probable income is the amount of income that Command thinks you'll end up earning based on how early they are in the pipeline. Like if I've got a bunch of people in the cultivate phase, those are just people that have booked appointments. They're certainly not people that are down here in the under contract phase. The farther people go down the pipeline, the more your probable income will go up. Okay. So it gives you an idea of what you can expect to earn. So how do we get people into these phases? It's pretty simple. You go to your contacts and you go find the contact that you want to put in. I'm going to go find me because I'm just using mine as a sample for you. Let's see. Not finding me. Why is that? Okay, there we go. Actually, I'm going to do, there we go. We'll use this one. So I have myself in there twice. Once you find yourself, or once you find your client and you want to put them into an opportunity, you just go to the right here. Just like we would do to add people to a smart plan, we can add people to an opportunity. And you notice I have myself in here as an opportunity right now. But to add an opportunity, it's simple. You hit create. And then your office should be defaulted. The type of opportunity, listing, buyer, landlord, tenant, is right there. Co-client, you can name your opportunity. You can also put your custom tags, right? You may have some tags already in there. You can also add some tags. You can put in an estimated close date if you want to. You don't have to. You can put in an estimated listing price and commission rate. That will help you figure out your potential income. And then you can put them in the opportunity phase. Where do you want them to be? Cultivate, appointment, active, okay? And then is there a stage that you want? Watch, nurture, or hot. Let's say I put them into the appointment. I could put them as scheduled or kept, or I'm working on getting an appointment booked with them, okay? Let's say they showed up, right? Once I have that, I just click, add to an opportunity. So I'm not gonna do that because I'm already in here. But what's gonna happen is when you go back to your opportunities, you'll see, in this case, I added myself to the appointment phase. So if I click on appointments, here I am, right, in the kept. Now let's say I just had scheduled myself. I'm booked for an appointment, but I haven't shown up yet. Okay, now I'm in the scheduled phase. And then when they show up, I can drag this card over to kept. And if they then become an active client, I can drag them up into active or whatever stage of the process they're at, okay? So that's basically how you can put people into your pipeline to keep track of where they are and what happens with them. Now, one other little thing I wanted to show you here. If I click this little icon, 0 out of 0, this is going to give me the ability to create checklists for every phase. Okay, so let's say that the appointment was kept and I want to create a checklist. So I'm going to add an item here, and the item I'm going to add is have lender call client. And I can click save. Okay, so now I'll have a checklist here that as I work with this person, I can use command as a checklist for every piece of the process, all the way from the first interaction to closing escrow. And this will help you quite a bit in staying organized and creating your own checklist so you have a flow and a process. And every time I put a new client into this phase, the same checklist will show up every time. Okay, so then I can just keep an update on whether I have had the lender call. I can actually make the client get an update that has happened now, which is pretty cool as well. Okay, so that's a little bit about opportunities and how to use them and how to create checklists. And again, you can have these custom checklists that you create in every little phase of every category. Okay, so I know that's a lot, but I did want to show you what that looks like. Okay, any questions on opportunities that you guys have? All right, let's keep going. I'm gonna get back to our slideshow. We are getting close to our actual assignment that you guys are gonna do. So that is command prospecting. So we talked about open houses. There's a few things to talk about with some process here with open houses. Host a speaker. Okay, you can create a big open house by inviting people you already know or people in the area and say, I'm going to have a contractor on board and they're going to be here to talk about things to look at in a home, or I'm going to have a physical inspector be here, or I'm going to have a home stager that's going to be here to talk about how to get your property ready to sell if you're ever thinking about selling a home. So you can invite selling-based speakers to your open house to be there for an hour or two for a Q&A session, which I think is a great idea. You can do a gift offering. You can hold a raffle for a gift certificate or a gas card. There's all kinds of things that you can do. And one thing that I know is that people will give you their information if you have something they want. So if you do a raffle for a $50 gift card, then people will tend to sign up more frequently. And by the way, you don't have to do $50 for every open house. You can say, for every open house I do for the whole week or for the whole month, I'm going to raffle off a gift card. I've seen agents actually do this with iPads, flat screen TVs, all kinds of stuff, and get tons and tons of people to come in, enter, and get signed up. One thing to do about getting the house ready is to put the best look on the open house. So if it's your seller, have them clean the property up, open all the doors, open all the windows, and make sure your clients are decluttering, taking away all their personal items and effects so that the new buyers can envision themselves living there and not the current family or homeowner. Okay. And then it says to go live, right? Whenever you do your open houses, it's a great opportunity to create momentum on your social media channels. So be live for a little while, talk to people in your audiences about where you are, what you're doing, and engage with them and give them a little walkthrough. Okay, you guys should be doing a lot of video prospecting. It's really important to engage on social media and video specifically because you can create your own essentially TV station, your own TV channel, right? And people want to watch. People want to watch, so take advantage.
Okay.
Speaking of, right, we have social media. So this is our fourth kind of dive into lead gen. We talked about the door knocking, open houses, agent to agent referrals, and now social media. I think we can all agree social media is an incredibly important lead gen strategy, especially in real estate, and many currently are using it very effectively and for very good reason. When used correctly, social media will allow you to instantaneously connect with many potential clients and begin to build relationships that result in more business, right? Just like personal face-to-face interactions, social media allows you to meet new people and create engagement and have interactions and build relationships. Okay. And there's tons of social media networks out there. Obviously, the big two right now, Facebook and Instagram, but there are also things like Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok. These are all social media opportunities that you can, engage in. So you want to be thinking about, well, what platform or platforms are you really going to jump into? So if you want to look at page 11 in your participant guide, there's some information about social media that you can follow along with here. Let's see, I'm just getting to that page myself. So the model here is the select, seek, share service. Okay, so you want to consider which social media platforms are you going to be a part of? Do you have to be on all of them? No. Eventually, maybe you will, but for now, pick one or two. Maybe you just focus on Facebook and Instagram. They're the easiest two. They're some of the most widely viewed, and that's simple, right? And the second thing with selecting is create a schedule. You want to have a schedule for your postings, whether that's daily or multi-daily, whatever that is. I think, really, guys and gals, you need to be posting on social media minimum every single day. Minimum on a daily basis, you should be putting something out into your profiles. Okay. So what does that schedule look like? If it's daily, is it morning, noon, night? What does that look like? Many people I know in real estate are posting, 5 to 8 times a day on their stories. Okay. Think about your branding. What is your branding going to look like? And are you going to create a niche, and how are you going to focus on that niche? Okay. Creating a business page. Now, I personally recommend you use your personal page to start, because that's where all of your connections are. But a business page will become necessary over time, especially as you want to consider running ads through Command on Facebook, Instagram, and Google. Okay. And then one great thing in Command is for your business page, you can create automated posts. You can create posts that are pre-scheduled, right? And you can put a whole week's work together, so you don't have to worry about the content that you're going to push out there. So the second part here is seek. Seek prospects. Who are you going to target? Location, interests. Who is that audience, right? So here's where I go back to, what are you interested in? How can you create connections based on your interests? Because you can go search in Facebook for community groups, which are geo-based, location-based, or socio groups or psychographic groups based on whatever interests you have, right? Instagram, same thing. You can go search hashtags. YouTube, go find people that are sharing information and videos that are interesting to you, and connect and follow and subscribe, right? So social media, it's easy to build your network, because the more people you go follow, the more followers you're going to get back. And then as long as you are posting content, you can create that two-way communication. As you engage with them, they engage with you. Okay. Next is share content. Okay. I'm going to put in the chat a couple resources. The designs tab in Command has a ton of social media content. You can use that. There are websites, Keeping Current Matters. A lot of people use this to get social media content. Breakthrough Broker. These are a couple of places to go to find some simple real estate related content. Some of it's fun. Some of it's, value-based with statistics and market information. But take advantage and just be posting something daily. And by the way, if you see another agent you're connected with that's posting funny memes that you want to use, do what we do at KW and R&D the meme. Rip off and duplicate. Just grab it, copy it, and repost it, right? People think that, I don't want to do that because I'm taking their content. They took it from someone else too, right? It's pretty funny. I'm connected with, I don't know, thousands of agents probably at this point through the various platforms I'm on. And somebody will post a funny meme about real estate, and I'll see that same one 10 or 15 times in a day. because they're all copying and sharing the same stuff. I just happen to be friends with a lot of agents, so I see that this actually happens. So don't feel like that's not the way this is working, okay? People are absolutely doing the R&D, okay? So share, deliver content, and don't get stressed out about like making your own crazy, perfect professional content, right? Just first grab what other people are doing, and then you can start thinking about creating something a little bit more, custom made, custom branded or what have you. Lastly, here we have service, right? And that's communicating with the people who interact with your posts. In fact, one simple thing for social media, obviously make sure you're posting content, but then follow the LCM method. LCM. And what does that stand for? Like, comment, message. Okay. You guys should all have a number of people that you LCM every day. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 20, that you like a post, you make a comment on that post, and then you shoot a message directly based on that post. Okay. This is just standard operating procedure, guys and gals, in our market today. You must be engaging with people. The social media companies, they decide what you see, and they decide what you see based on engagement. Remember, well, who wants to tell me, what is Facebook and Instagram's model? How do they make money? Who wants to tell me? Anyone want to unmute or drop it in the chat? How do these social media companies make money?
Paid advertising.
That's exactly right. Paid ads, right? They make money through ads. It doesn't cost you any money to sign up for Facebook. Just like we as agents can run ads, so can they. That's why they are collecting all this information about all of us so they can target these ads to be more effective, to attract more people to run more ads. So it's in their best interest to keep you as a consumer on social platforms as long as they possibly can, because they can put more ads in front of you over and over and over again. And as you interact with the ads, they'll become more targeted, and then you'll see them more often. And so when you think about all your connections, your friends and your followers, you're going to see the posts that those platforms want you to see based on how much engagement they're getting, because it keeps you on the platforms longer. Okay. So we have to be not only creating content, but creating engaging content, which is kind of, step B or step 2. And then also engaging with the people whose content is in front of you most often, liking it, commenting it, and messaging on it. And the more you do that, they're going to see that you're commenting, they're going to see your messages, and they're going to start paying attention more to your content, because now they're going to have a little more awareness around you, because you're obviously in their inbox, and you're demonstrating that you're paying attention to them, and they will pay attention to you. So LCM, like, comment, and message. Guys and gals, make a plan for how many of those a day you're going to do. You should be doing probably 3, 4, 5 a day minimum. Okay. All right. So that's service. Rough numbers. We have the 80-20 rule. They say 20% business, 80% personal. I think it's totally fine to be closer to 50-50 right now. And folks, don't get caught up in thinking that you're posting too much. It's almost impossible to post too much on social media right now. The average time spent looking at a post is less than a second, right? I mean, think about how fast we scroll through our social media walls or our pages, right? You're going through super fast, right? So if you're getting 1 second of a look, right, you almost can't have enough content to create awareness around yourself. All right, let's talk about taking action and developing your plan. So we're going to do a little bit more in depth on creating your own personal plan. So here's something to think about with prospecting. 80% got the majority of their business from 5 sources or less. So what that means is you want to not have no more than 5 ways to prospect and market, and then go all in on those methods, right? And don't get too spread thin, because this is what I see a lot happen. People will come into real estate and they will start targeting their sphere, and then that'll slow down or maybe dry up, and they'll say, okay, well, you know what I do next? I'm going to go all in on open houses. and they start doing, maybe one open house a week, and then that's not bringing enough business in. And then they say, you know what, I'm going to start knocking on doors. And then they start knocking on doors 20, 30, 40 a day, and that's not getting enough business. And it's like, you know what, I'm going to go where the sellers are. I'm going to go for expired listings. And then it's like, no, I'm going to go to business networking. I'm going to start networking to businesses. And next thing you know, they're doing 7, 8, 10 different things, but they're not doing enough of one. So we really should be focusing on a handful of prospecting and marketing to start with, and going all in for an extended amount of time. Success in business is time on task over time doing the work for a long period of time to create momentum. Okay. For most MREA agents, most millionaire agents, the majority of their business was coming from referrals, sphere of influence, repeat and referral, purchase leads, and then everything else was filling in the gaps, basically. Okay, so a lot of the MREAs were coming from that. They were by referral only agents, working through their sphere, working through past clients, buying leads online. So a little bit of everything, prospecting, marketing, etc. Many of you don't have the repeat business, obviously the past clients. So the sphere is obviously number one, and then we got to find a way to build our database larger. And that comes through our action plan for prospecting. So here's what we're going to do. I want you all to go to page 13 in your manual, and we're going to learn how to scale down, pick the methods of prospecting that we feel are going to be most effective for your business. Okay. So let's take a look at page 13. And this is going to be taking our action plan. So on page 13, it shows you a list of lead sources, or it shows you a blank section where you can take all of your lead sources. You don't have to rewrite them. They're on page number 4, right? I believe. Just make sure. No, page 4, right? It has all the prospecting and marketing, but let's focus on prospecting. And then what we're going to do is essentially take that list, prioritize it, and create a focus. All right. So I want you guys to take a couple of minutes and grab a few of the prospecting methods on page 4. And I want you to add them to the middle box. You don't need to put them on the left box list. We're going to put them into the prioritize box. So here's what I want you to do. Take everything that you could see yourself doing in your career from the prospecting list and put it into the prioritize. Okay. And it's not to say that's going to be our focus. It's just going to be all the things you can see yourself doing. So take a minute and let's go ahead and do that right now. In fact, maybe I'll see if I can't get that list back on the screen here. There we go.
What is that little parenthesis that there is on that other list?
I think what they were doing here is putting them in their order. So go ahead and take everything you could ever see yourself doing in this business, like I said, and put them right into that middle box. Actually, Rosie, what they were doing here is the parentheses is a sample of the number of transactions that a top producer would have done to, like, this is how they show where their business came from. So we're doing the exercise a little bit differently, since we're obviously don't maybe have as many sales that we can put into this plan. So when you see the middle box, it says social media 14. That's how many transactions this agent would have closed from social media. And then 10 from door knocking, 7 from sphere, right? In another time, when you guys have more of a track record, what you'll do at the end of the year as you plan for the next year is you'll source all your business onto the left-hand side in the list. And then in the prioritize, you'll put it in order of where the top number ones came from, like the most business came from. And then you'll pick the top 5 to focus on, okay? Since we don't have that track record, we're gonna shift this list up just a little bit. So after you create your prioritize middle section, the next part of the homework or next part of the work here is to add it to the right size and to the focus. So we're gonna pick anywhere between like 3 and 5, no more than 5, no less than 3 that are gonna be your focus, okay? So go ahead and do that now. On the focus part of page 13, add in your 3 to 5 that you're gonna focus on. So take a minute, go ahead and do that. Pick your top 3 to 5. And then let's go to the next part of this on page number 14 in your manual, okay? In fact, let me see here. I'm gonna switch my screen share here. And I'm going to show you what I'm looking at on the manual. Okay. So basically what we're looking at here is this is how we develop your plan of action. And I'm going to walk you through this exercise. Okay. So part A at the top, right? And we're on page 14. So in part A at the top, you're going to take those top 3 prospecting methods and put them into part A right here. So if you had 5, you're only going to put the top 3. If you only had 3, you're going to write all 3 of them. So go ahead and write those into part A or type them into part A. Once you've transcribed those into part A, we're going to go into part B. Okay. So you see on the left here, it has 1, 2, and 3. You just wrote in your top 3 here, right? You're gonna write them again here, 1, 2, 3. It's the same 3. So your top 3 methods are gonna go right here in part B. And then you can see right underneath that is a pros and cons list. And I want you to think through this a little bit. And I want you to think about what are some of the benefits or the pros of the prospecting method you picked. And what might be some of the cons? What might be some of the cons? What might be some of the, when I think of a con, I think of a challenge. What might make it hard? What might make it not feasible? What skill might you not have? Or what tool or technology might you not have that would hold you back from being able to do that method? Okay. So go ahead and do the pros and cons now. At minimum, I want you to do it for your number 1 prospecting method. We may have you finish this offline after we finish the Zoom, okay? So take a minute, pros and cons for at least the first one, and really try to think it through. Like why would I want to do this? Why is this going to be a win? And then what's going to hold me back? How is this going to be tough? What's going to get in the way? What are my roadblocks? Does anyone need more time for at least the first one for part B? Okay, let's move on. So on the next page is part C, okay, and it says prospecting method I selected. And you would do this basically for all 3 of your top 3 sources. But for right now, I want you to pick number 1. I want you to put the one right here, the number 1 prospecting method you wrote. And I want you to put that right here. Okay, put that at the top. And what we're going to do is I'm going to have you work through all of the questions here. So, what resources do you need? What time frame? Like, when is it going to happen? When is it going to start? How much time do you need? How long will you do this specific prospecting method? And then it asks, who's the target? Who are you trying to find through that prospecting? And if it's too broad, like if it's anybody, then maybe you need to reconsider what that target is, okay? And then what action do I want someone to take? Call to action. Is it direct or indirect? So if you're going to do expired listings, are you looking for appointments, or are you looking for people to go to get more information online so that you can then follow up with them afterwards? And then how will you know if you're successful? Meaning, what results will you be looking for to determine whether you are making it work or not? And then lastly, how will you keep track of your results? What tech, what tools are you going to use to keep track of your results? Okay, so those are the 6 or so questions. I want you to go ahead and write down a note or two for each category there. Let's take about 5 minutes to do that. Folks, if you have questions and you're not sure what to write for any of these, just let me know. Unmute yourself and let me know so we can chat about it. Your goal really is, though, to take your prospecting initiatives and do a more thorough understanding of like what it's going to take. What are you really looking to accomplish? How do you know if it's working? How are you going to keep an eye and monitor? And when we leave here today, you should have a deeper understanding of the 3 primary focuses for your business: troubleshoot, pro and con, brainstorm, and then execute ultimately, right? Last step of that is to do the work. So a couple more minutes here. Resources needed, time frame, target, action, results, track and monitor. Make sure you have something written in each of the categories here, each of the categories. Let's go 2 more minutes. Make sure you have something written down in each of the sections here. And remember, if you need help with this and maybe don't want to share on the Zoom, feel free to reach out directly to me. Happy to help you do this a little bit more thoroughly in one-on-one for sure. Okay, 1 more minute. Make sure you got everything written down, 1 in every category. Okay, let's move on to the next page. And this is the last piece of the exercise here, which is part D. Think about the prospecting that you're choosing. And there's two simple questions that you can brainstorm here. What could go wrong? And what action can I take ahead of time? Okay, so what could go wrong? What could get in the way? Is that not having the technology you need? Or is that not knowing your script? Is that not being able to time block because of distractions? Not knowing who to target? So what do you think could go wrong? And then, being thoughtful, what action can you take to make sure that that doesn't derail you? The fool's mission, I think, is that everything's going to be peachy and easy in this business. The reality is there's going to be a ton of hurdles along the way. And so you better troubleshoot that. You better know how to get over a hurdle, right? So be thoughtful, be proactive, and think what could go wrong. So that way you can create some ways to not get blindsided and stopped in your tracks when whatever it is does go wrong. We have to expect that. In fact, many people will tell you that success is simply a series of failures that you learn from and rebound from and become better and keep moving forward. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? How can you get ahead of it? I want you to make sure you have something on the left and something on the right, at least one thing that could go wrong. And then one way to have an action item to make sure you can get around or over the hurdle. Okay, so as you're finishing typing, I want you to just think about, what did you learn today? What was your aha for today? And I want you to just write down somewhere on the page or on your wherever you're typing. Just write down one thing that you learned today, that's new for you today. Somehow your mindset has changed. And then as we wrap up for the day, I'd like to have a couple of you share. So I'm going to stop the screen share. And I'm just going to simply ask for two of you to give me an aha, and then we're going to be done for the day. So who wants to share with me something that impacted you, something you learned, something that was an aha for you for today? Who's going first?
I can say something.
Please.
This taught me how to organize myself a little bit better, and that way you have a more target audience per se, and be with purpose. You know what you're going to do the following day and who you are targeting, and stay on task.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Yeah. So, really what I hear there is purposeful, right? Being way more clear and purposeful for what it is you're looking to achieve, who you're going to talk to, what that message is going to sound like, and then keeping you focused and on track and on task. So that's awesome. Thank you, Rosie. That's great. Who else? Give me one more. Somebody else give me one more aha, and we will wrap it up for Tuesday.
Nick, I really like your suggestions about the social media, especially generating content. The fact you can do it through command, and you kind of just said it's okay to borrow other people's content. I'm new. I think we're all new, and none of us is really an expert. So it's a great way to get rolling on that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you got it. We say success leaves clues, meaning somebody's already done it. So when you see stuff online, don't think that they're the ones that created anything. It's almost like there's nothing original anymore. So it's a great aha there. R&D, people are already doing what works. So there's no reason why not to piggyback right on top of that. So awesome. All right, good. Well, folks, it's 11:34. It's Tuesday. We are going to wrap up for the day. I appreciate all of you. We will be back on Thursday for the marketing portion of this. We'll jump into Command a little bit more, talk more about social and other marketing avenues. And again, Friday will be off and we will go and reconvene the following week. Okay. Thanks all. Great to have you. See you on Thursday. Have a good one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bet.
Hey, Nick, I had a quick question before we leave.
Sure.
So I've been trying to get in contact with the expireds, and I haven't been able to figure out how to even find their contact information. I've been looking through MLS and Realist and stuff like that. And I'm not entirely sure how to get in contact.
So your typical expired, so you're going to have to buy the data. So there's a ton
Okay.
of services out there that sell expired and for sale by owner data. I'll drop some in the chat, but there is Land Voice is one. One that I think a lot of people use is called the Red X. I think it's redx.com. Let's see, Vulcan 7 is one. Cole Realty Resource is another one. Rebo Gateway. These are all data providers. What they do is they monitor the daily expireds, NODs. You can buy all kinds of data actually, not just expireds. So look at those expireds, FSBOs, notice a default, notice a sale. Sometimes you can get like divorce filings, bankruptcies, evictions, depending on which of these providers. So I would look at a few of them and see, you know, which has what, and then decide who you want to go after.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, you got it, no problem. And we can chat more about that in depth too if you once you decide which route you're going to go.
Cool. Will do.
All righty.
All right.
Anybody else have any questions? Or are we good? No. All right. I'll see y'all later, folks. Have a good one.